It's no surprise that bike prices have been on the rise over the last year, like literally everything else. But a lot of you are wondering what's going to happen with bike prices as we move into the next year or two. Will bike brands finally catch up and bring in the inventory needed to stabilize pricing, or maybe even see those prices come back down? Or is this chaos just going to continue and bike prices are going to skyrocket to the moon? So we're going to talk about what exactly is going on, what you can expect to happen with bike prices in 2022, and whether or not you're going to have to refinance your home to buy that bike you've been dreaming of. Let's hope it doesn't get to that point. We're going to dive into all the details, so stay tuned. Let's get going. So first, let's talk about what's been going on and why bike prices have been increasing over the last year. And the number one cause for bike prices going up over this last year has been that demand has just gone absolutely through the roof. When COVID hit, disposable income increased as people weren't able to take that vacation they had planned, and they weren't able to go out and eat like they usually did. And all these factors grew people's disposable income and allowed them to buy new toys, including bicycles. And because of lockdowns and a shift towards remote working, a lot of people were looking for reasons to get outside and stay healthy. And generally, COVID made people reevaluate their health and well-being, and a lot of people decided to make riding bikes part of their journey to living a healthier lifestyle. And all of these factors led to unprecedented demand, which we all know can lead to prices increasing. In addition to increased demand, material costs have been on the rise. Everything from aluminum to rubber to even the cardboard box that the bike comes in have increased in price over the last year. And the third factor that's led to increased prices over the last year or two is that supply has been consistently low. If you've gone into a bike shop in the last year, chances are they had very little inventory. They probably didn't have what you were looking for. This all began when COVID first hit. Factories were forced to shut down, and then when the factories were able to reopen, they were required to have reduced workforce due to new COVID protocols. In addition to this, bike brands weren't really sure how the pandemic would unfold and how it would impact bike sales, so most of them cut their orders and reduced their productions in an effort to preserve their business. And you're probably thinking, well, why don't they just increase their production now? And they have. But the challenge is that every other industry has also increased production at the same rate and at the same time, which has led to bottlenecks in material availability as well as availability of shipping containers. And now there's even a bottleneck at the ports where all this product needs to come through to get to the end consumer. So what can we expect to happen with bike prices over the next year or two? Unfortunately, it looks like there's a really good chance they're going to continue increasing. First, raw material pricing looks like it's poised to continue climbing for the foreseeable future. The one that's potentially had the biggest impact on the bike industry is the pricing of aluminum. The reason that aluminum pricing has increased is actually pretty interesting. The Western African country of Guinea is the second largest exporter of bauxite, which is the ore that's required to manufacture aluminum. And on September 5th, a military coup overtook the government in Guinea. And while they claim to be taking over the government to thwart corruption and poverty in their country, in the short term, this has thrown the exports of bauxite into the unknown. Immediately after they overtook the government, we saw aluminum prices skyrocket to the highest price they've been at since 2008. Now, the pricing of aluminum did peak on October 11th, just over $3,100, and since then it's been slowly coming back down, now in the $2,500 range, but nowhere near the $1,500 to $1,900 price range that it was at in 2019 and 2020. Secondly, the labor costs are continuing to increase, and not just in the United States. We're also seeing a similar situation in Taiwan, where most bike parts and bicycles are manufactured. Just recently, Taiwan actually increased their minimum wage as well, which inherently increases the cost to manufacture bicycles. And if all these cost increases weren't enough, the cost of shipping has also drastically increased over the last year. Container pricing from Asia to the United States remains near an all-time high. It has decreased slightly in the last couple weeks, but it still remains about 250% higher than the same week 1 year ago. And fourth, lead times show no signs of improving anytime soon. Not only are bike brands struggling to get the raw materials to make their frames, but they're also having a hard time getting the parts they need to assemble those bikes. All of this leads to a continued supply bottleneck, which inherently puts upward pressure on the pricing. And worst of all, the delays that we've been experiencing, the lack of availability, and the increasing prices we've been seeing have led a lot of people to hold off on buying that new bike. So there's a ton of built up demand in the market. Now at this point, you're probably thinking you are completely screwed if you're looking at buying a new bike. But hold on, not so fast. Let's look at it from a little bit different angle. Now, it may seem like you're gonna have to sell one of your kidneys on the black market to buy that bike you've been dreaming of. But before you go out and do that, I think we've got a little bit of an angle that we should look at first. First, the economy is already showing signs of slowing down. Consumer spending is starting to decrease, and the real estate market is showing signs of cooling off as well. All of this leads to downward pricing pressure on all consumer goods. Second, we've seen bike brands add new manufacturing facilities to increase their production capability. This is definitely going to help bike availability in the coming year. And third, we should see lead times improve over the next year. Most bike brands have been struggling to get the parts they need to assemble the bikes, but most of those brands for drivetrain and suspension and tires have also increased their production, which is allowing bike brands to increase their production and deliver the bikes that they need to deliver to the market. So is it time to panic? I don't think so, but it's a pretty safe assumption we're going to see bike prices continue increasing over the next year. So if you've got a bike in mind and it's available, now might be a good time to buy it. But I don't think we're going to see bike prices increase 20 or 30 or 40% or anything crazy like that. We're just going to see small incremental increases like we're going to see on all consumer goods as inflation continues to happen over the next year. So thanks for stopping by. Subscribe if you like what I'm doing. See you at the next one. Bye.